Perfect. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Julie Drzezinski. I'm the Director of Employer Engagement in the Center for Career Development, and I'm really excited to have two folks here from Hartford Hospital to talk a little bit today about their summer pre-med and research program. So I'll turn it over here in a second. Students, there'll definitely be time for questions. I can monitor the chat too. So if there's questions that come up as Anjali and Sandra are chatting, feel free to drop those questions in the chat. And then we can certainly save time at the end to get any questions answered. So I'll turn it over to Anjali.
Great. Thank you, Julie. Good morning. Well, good afternoon now. Hope all of you are okay. I know it's the finals, last week of classes, so I'm going to try to make this as painless as possible, I promise. But like Julie said, my name is Anjali. I'm from Hartford Healthcare, specifically Hartford Hospital. I've been with the organization now for about 1 year. And prior to that, I was working at Yale in residencies and fellowships specifically. So I worked a lot with medical students in particular. And in my current role right now is I'm the program director for the summer student pre-med research program that we offer. And before I start the actual presentation, I'll give it over to Sandra so she can introduce herself too.
Hi, I'm Sandra Soares. I am the coordinator for the summer students, so all your stuff will be coming to me. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me via email.
Great, thank you. So what I'm going to do is share my screen. Please let me know if you are unable to see the presentation, but I'll start it from the beginning here. And Julie and Sandra, feel free to interrupt me if there's questions in the chat because I cannot easily ask.
Yep, we'll do that.
Thanks. All right, so welcome. In terms of overall objectives, in the beginning, there's going to be some introductions, short and sweet. I even created some questions to answer so you don't have to overthink it too much. And then I'll go over the specific aspects of the program, specifically the components, who should apply, what the process is, what the selection process is, and then our contact information towards the end. And there is going to be time at the end for questions or concerns, but feel free to unmute yourself or raise your hand or put a question in the chat. Happy to stop the presentation to answer any questions. So just so you know, my mom's dog makes an appearance. So that's my mom's dog, Rocky. That was him during Halloween. So he's a theme for my presentation here. So he'll pop up here and there. But in terms of introductions, sorry if it says Wesleyan. That was my bad. That should say Holy Cross. I am going to apologize right now. But in terms of introductions, just generally what your name is, hometown, your year at Holy Cross, not Wesleyan, whatever your major is or minor, your career interest, and share one fact about what your holiday plans are. I gave some examples of what you could answer, but I'm going to stop sharing so that way we can kind of get to know each other a little bit. Oops. And I'm going to pick on the first person I see on here. So sorry not to embarrass anyone, but Maddie is the first one on my screen.
Okay. Hi, my name is Maddie. I'm from West Hartford, Connecticut. I'm a sophomore at Holy Cross. I'm majoring in psychology and neuroscience. And then the holiday plan, is that the last question?
Yeah, like holidays
Okay.
or maybe career interests. Like, are you interested in
career
med or research or anything?
Yeah, I'm interested in well, obviously I'm interested in like neuroscience and psychology, so something maybe research or clinical based with either of those fields. And then my Christmas or holiday plans are just spending time with my family.
Sounds like fun. Thank you. All right, Kaylee, you're next on my box here.
Hi, I'm Callie.
Callie, thank you for correcting me.
That's okay. I'm from Southington, Connecticut. I'm a junior at Holy Cross. I'm a psych major and then obviously pre-med. I am looking to go into either PT or OT. I'm not that was one of my questions as to whether this program necessarily applies for those things. But we could obviously talk about that later. And then holiday plans. I plan to go to New York City with my friends for New Year's, so I'm excited for that.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be maybe cold, but yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. Thank you. All right, Grace, you're next.
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm from Long Island, New York. I'm a junior and I am a chemistry major. A field I'm interested in going into is either something in the medical field or also in a research field. So definitely getting clinical or research experience is really looking forward to do this summer. And something I'm going to be doing over the holidays is I'm going abroad next semester. So I'm just going to start getting ready for that, I guess, and getting my stuff together.
Oh, that sounds fun. Where are you going abroad, if you don't mind asking?
I'm going to Ireland. I'm going to
Oh,
Galway.
fun.
So I'm really
Super
excited.
jealous. Good for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna pronounce your name incorrectly, so you can just correct me now. It's not Saley, it's not Chaley.
It's
No.
Kaylee. It's a
Haley,
weird-
there you go. That's why I asked. Yeah.
I am from Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm a health studies major and neuroscience minor. And for the holidays, just kind of hanging out with my family. Not doing too much, working over break.
Good for you. Yeah, I remember during finals, like after finals, I should say, I was just bumming it out after I was done. I think it just would, I don't know, overwork me. But all right, well, thank you all for introducing yourselves. A lot of neuro in the crew here. Very interesting. And we also have a mix in terms of what year you are in. So that's also good to know. I will make mention about future plans. Notice how I changed it to Holy Cross. I changed my mistake. So with that being said, here's an overview of our program. You can also find this information on our websites. But in general, what we offer is an opportunity for not just research exposure, but also clinical settings, specifically patient care and observing, which I'll go over during the presentation. And really is to give you a broad spectrum of like different healthcare settings that we have in a large community teaching hospital, which is how we are identified here in the healthcare system. In terms of how long the program is, it is for 10 weeks. It starts next year on June 3rd. It ends on August 9th. And you would be hired as a colleague or as an actual employee, and you'll be paid $4,000 for your time, which is unique for our program. Not all the programs are paid, but we do find that, you know, you are putting in work in terms of the research project that you will be doing. So that's why we are paying. If you are from out of state, you are eligible for on-campus housing, if that is something that is of interest to you. We will provide parking, and, you know, the students are responsible for their own meals, travel, and etc. while they are participating in the program, but we will pay for your poster or any miscellaneous expenses related to your research while you're here. So that's a general overview, but I'm not going to go over the actual components of the program. So the first one is research. And so what we try to do is we try to match interest with available senior investigators at the time the cohort starts. So on the application, there is a section where you will put in the departments, or I'll say the specialty or subspecialty interest that you're most interested in. So for those of you who care more about fields or specialties that are specific to like procedures, you can list specialties in those areas. However, like I said, we try our best to match interest to the available senior investigators, but that's not always the case. And I do want to say that when we are unable to meet your specific interest, but we have received feedback from different members of various cohorts that they like the fact that they did get exposure to an area that they didn't necessarily have any interest in, but it certainly taught them about a different area in the healthcare system, and also helped them to network in different areas of the hospital. in terms of the project, once you are paired up with the senior investigator, they will be meeting with you regularly to go over the project itself. They will help you start the project and will monitor it during the 10 weeks that you're on campus. And they will also, teach you different research protocols. And, this is interesting. This is a great experience for those who don't have any research exposure, so you don't have to come in having any research experience. They will start from scratch with you. So I think this is a great program where, there's like low stakes, right? In terms of like how this could go for your experience. This is a great learning opportunity in general. So something to think about overall. One thing that has come up in other presentations is whether or not any of the projects are publishable or will be published or have been published. It's only for 10 weeks, so a short span of time, so probably won't be published while you're in doing the project. However, some of the cohort members do ask with the permission of the department to extend their time with their senior investigators, so that way they can complete a project and then start applying for publication after the fact. So that is a possibility. I have listed here the different departments that collaborated with us last year for the 2023 cohort. So I'm just putting that as for your information, but that list changes every single year. Moving on to the next slide. So the other component of the program are seminars. So these are weekly, and essentially what we do at the department level, we pair you up with a member of your cohort to select a topic to discuss with the rest of your cohort about different things. It could be medical legal issues, ethics, social determinants of health, anything relevant that is happening at that time, etc. You can also invite experts in the field as part of your weekly seminar, either in a panel format or just as a general discussion that they are monitoring. This is a great opportunity for students to select relevant topics that they are interested in. So I did, as you can see, I did list out the different the different seminar topics from last year. As you can see, very, very diverse. Everything from GI related to testing to a panel discussion about careers. It could be really anything that your heart desires. And the whole point too, and I should state this, that having worked on the residency and fellowship side, both at Weill Cornell and at Yale, this is very close to what you would be experiencing as a resident after medical school. This is something that you would need to do on the residency side and fellowship side. So it's good to get an early exposure to the specific process, because this is a common task once you get to that part of your career. The other part of the program is observations. Like I mentioned earlier, you do have an opportunity to observe ambulatory and inpatient settings. This is a great opportunity to not just get general clinical exposure, but also to understand different care models, be able to observe different procedures. And also, if you want, you can observe as many as you'd like while you're here. So you're not limited, like it doesn't say that you can only do 2 or anything like that. You might as well do as many as you can while you're here. But there are some students who only select areas that are of specific interest to them, for whatever reasons. That's okay too. We can accommodate that. And lastly, for the last component is poster presentations. This is the finality of your cohort experience. And so just like you would on the medical school side or in grad school or in your residency or fellowship, you will be in a room presenting your research. It is open to the general public, so great opportunity to invite family, friends, staff members that you worked with while you were here completing your project. And also we provide a certificate of completion for successfully completing all of the requirements of the program. And I'm just gonna show you, oops. Sorry, my thing is frozen here. A little bit of what that could look like. We also offer light refreshments as well. You also get to keep your poster, which is kind of neat if you care about that. But you know, a lot of our cohort members really enjoyed this part of the experience, because it's a great way to start to get used to practicing, you know, your public speaking or sharing your research in a way that is digestible to the public that you're trying to serve. So you will be practicing with your senior investigator before the actual poster presentation. So no worries, we will support you in that way. So in terms of who can apply, so it says pre-medical college student completing their junior year by May 2024. So that would be a rising senior for next year. Have a cumulative GPA of 3.4 or higher, participates in leadership service activities at school or in the community. Like I said earlier, past research experience is not required, and you must be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. Now, I will say that I don't want any of these things to be deterrents in terms of you applying. We have to be strict about the year that you are in, but other than that, if you feel that your GPA was impacted one of your years or whatever the case may be, an addendum is always good. You can add that to your statement of interest, which I will go over in a second. I am fully aware that STEM majors in general, and just pre-med majors in general, you have a very tough curriculum. And so the grades may vary. And also every school, their grades could vary. So that's why I am stating that an addendum could be useful in that case. For those of you, I think there's at least one sophomore in the group. If you haven't started already, we will definitely be looking at what activities you have been participating in, both in school and in the community. So if you haven't started yet, start soon if you are interested. Many of the other research programs also have this as a requirement. So yeah, that's that about who can apply. In terms of the application process, the application was open last Friday on the 1st. It closes on February 2nd, 2024. We do accept them on a rolling basis. Sandra will be the one receiving the applications and reviewing them at first, just to make sure that we have all the required documents, and then she will she will make sure that the entire application is complete and may or may not follow up with you if it is not by the deadline. There are a few forms that do need to be sent to her directly. That would be the transcript from your undergrad, and then 2 letters of recommendation. And the basic thing I'm going to say about letters of recommendation is that it would be best if they were from academic faculty, researchers, professors, or mentors. Those would be the best ones. If you are unable to select someone from any of those categories, that's also okay. As long as they can speak well on your behalf, that's what is important. If you notice on top, or it says to be completed via REDCap, I will have a section about REDCap in a second. But I do want to talk about the statement of interest. In general, just gentle reminder, you know, you can add an addendum if you feel like that's needed for your application. You can add it to the statement of interest, is towards the bottom. If you have any questions about that, reach out to me or Sandra if you're confused about what I just said. But the prompt is explain your motivation to apply for this program. How does this relate to your current and future career path? And what experiences, courses, and work have inspired your interest in healthcare careers? And that statement of interest would be uploaded into REDCap, which we will go over in a second. So REDCap. REDCap is a software that we use. It is not meant to be difficult to use. So it's a 1-pager. And this is essentially, there's one more slide. This is essentially all there is to it. Your demographics specifically, information about your current education. And then this is where you would upload the documents that I just described, as well as list out areas of research interest. And then you submit. The other thing too that you have to submit is a professional picture. You will understand why in a second, but something that will likely be shared to some capacity within the program. We do create a face sheet with your picture. That's why I'm saying that. And in terms of the selection process, qualified candidates will be invited for an interview via email by Sandra. She will be the one sending out the emails. And the interviews will be for 1 month. So it's sometime between February 5th or March 8th. Decision letters will be sent via email April 1st to the 5th. I know and completely understand that some of you may be applying to multiple programs. So we do provide some form of a review period before you have to make a final decision. That is part of the selection process. Next slide is the cohort from last year. You may see some familiar faces. I'm not sure, but this is our from last year. So feel free to reach out to them if you have questions at all. It's always good to hear from the ones who actually went through the process themselves. So there's that. And then if selected and if you accept the offer, there is onboarding. Like I said, you apply as if you were an employee. So there's an application link that we send out. There's orientation that you have to participate in. You also have to get a pre-employment physical. We will take care of badging, parking, and housing if applicable. And then the first week of employment would be program orientation, company orientation, tour of the facilities, I-9 confirmation, which is confirming that you can work here, and EPIC training, meetings with your senior investigator. And then we do create a Q&A with some former summer students as well. So any questions? Believe it or not, we reached the end. This is our contact information in case it's on here. So feel free to reach out whenever, does not matter if you have questions. The link to our website is also at the bottom. So if there's any questions or concerns, this is your time. And that's that.
I did have a quick question.
Yes.
So as I mentioned earlier, I am going more into like PT or OT. I was wondering if you would recommend me applying to this program, if it would apply to me, or if there's anything else offered at Hartford Healthcare that would be more fitting for me.
Great question. So I still encourage you to apply, and I'll tell you why. There's no requirement that you have to go to either medical school or to a research graduate program. That's number one, after completing this cohort. And then number two, there are some, and Sandra, please correct me if I'm wrong. We do have like an alumni survey that we send out like every year. And some of them did not end up going into medical school or graduate school. As a matter of fact, some of them went into healthcare administration, some of them went into nursing, right? So I think generally speaking, this is a good opportunity for those who want to get exposure and also are still on the fence about what kind of healthcare career that they want to go into. So I think the main gist is that we want you to have early exposure to healthcare in general. Great question. And also to continue to answer your question, you're welcome. There might be other opportunities as well. Feel free to reach out, send me an email, and I can ask the other departments what else is out there, because I know that they're creating new opportunities all the time. You never know.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem.
We might not be able to get you an orthopedic for physical therapy or occupational therapy, but you could always, I'm sure Angelique can find you someone that you can observe.
At the very least, yeah.
Follow them for a day or two.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
No problem. Any other questions? Yes, Grace, I see your hand.
Sorry, I'm more did that, but for the interview process, is that something that's going to be done virtually, or will they be in person?
Yeah, great question. It will be via Zoom. Yes, all the interviews are via Zoom. It'll be with me. You'll see me again. But yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? It's okay if not. If you think of anything more.
I have one question.
Oh yeah, yes, Julie.
Yes. So A couple things to confirm. So I know you walked us through REDCap, which is really helpful in all the different application materials that are needed. So not including a resume, correct? So
Yeah.
so really it's important then, I would think, in that REDCap application that they're kind of looking at their resume and they're kind of putting a lot of like that leadership, that service, that community, like almost copying and pasting from the resume into
That is
those fields?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So one less document to submit, but REDCap would fulfill
Okay.
that part. Yeah.
Perfect. And then the addendum you mentioned, if they were going to upload that, is that under that like link near the statement of interest? Is that where they should do it?
They can add it to the statement of interest
Okay.
towards the end.
It was
Yeah.
at the end of the document. Okay, perfect. Another logistical question I had, because I know
Sure.
this came up with other students. So you mentioned kind of out of state, that on-campus housing is an option. So can you talk a little bit about that? Is there a cost to that? Is it just part of the program? How does that work?
Yeah, Sandra, feel free to chime in if I'm wrong about something, but there's an application. It is on a first come, first served basis, but I think historically we haven't had such high demand for housing that if any one of you, all four of you would have applied, that you wouldn't get it. You don't have to pay. We pay for that. So that would be free. I
It
don't know
is
if
just, it's just a room. It's a dorm.
yeah, it's not glamorous, but
Yep.
but
it's
it's
free.
of the imagination.
Yeah.
But it's a room. So yeah.
Correct.
It does have a bathroom on the floor.
Okay.
So that's, and with a shower. So that's good.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? I promise to like not make it painful. That was the whole point. So yeah. But feel free to reach out if anything. I thank you so much, Julie, for having us.
Yes, thanks for taking the time. This is incredibly helpful.
Of
And,
course. All of you, good luck on finals. Be kind to
And
yourself.
I just wanted to add, if anyone has any questions while they're filling out the red cap form, they could always call or email me and I'll be happy to assist.
Perfect. Actually, that made me think of one last question, Sandra. With the letters of recommendation, I know you mentioned, Anjali, that it should be, academic faculty, professors, researchers, mentors. Does it matter, like, if there's two professors, there's two faculty members that come to mind, like, is that fine versus
That's
like,
fine, yeah.
okay, feeling like they
Doesn't
have
be a
to get it
picture
from,
of that, yeah.
okay. So
So-
it's not, if they don't have research experience, because you said that's not something that's
That is not
required,
correct.
they may not have like a researcher
That
recommender.
is correct, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
Any last questions from any of the students? All right.
All right. Well,
Well,
thank you.
Sandra, Anjali, thank you so much. We appreciate
you.
your time.
No problem. All right. Y'all have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
Thank you.
Thank you.